Good day there, once again viewers, your mate Kamikaze78 here, come to you guys with some more World of Warships content, and today my friends, I am really excited to bring you guys some gameplay of the Tier 10 Royal Navy Destroyer, the Daring. Now this is of course a ship available to community contributors and super testers on the live server at the moment, and of course is a ship that is a work in progress, so do take any sort of gameplay and stats that we discuss in this video guys with a grain of salt, because things could very well change about this ship before it is released to you guys to play in your own time. And with the amount of controversy surrounding this ship, or the amount of discussion I should say, surrounding this ship and how she performs right now, I'm more than happy to say that this ship is going to change in some way, shape or form, at least slightly when it comes to her statistics. Anyway, the game itself, what are we playing? This is a Land of Fire game. We are playing here a domination game mode, and we of course are in a tier 10 game, because this is, you know, a tier 10 ship, with a solid mix of tier 9s and a couple of poor tier 8s in the mix as well. Sucks to be those poor guys who got the shaft as far as matchmaking is concerned. My loadout on this ship is Priority Target, Preventative Maintenance, Expert Marksman, Demo Expert, IFHE and Concealment, and of course a couple of extras that you should mount on this ship in my humble opinion include Last Stand and Smokescreen Expert. Upgrades include Main Armament Mod 1, Propulsion Mod 1, Aiming Systems Mod 1, Propulsion Mod 2, Concealment Mod 1, and Torpedo Tubes Mod 3. Now, of course, guys, this ship, we've obviously got to talk about her. What does she do? What's she all about? And where does she sit in the grand scheme of things as far as the Tier 10 destroyer lines are concerned? Well, quite frankly, this thing eats destroyers for breakfast. As far as I'm concerned, the Royal Navy destroyer line is going to be what could be considered the DD hunter of the group. This is going to be the destroyer that charges onto capture points and, of course, eats enemy destroyers for, you know, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. However, she does require a high-skilled captain and general player knowledge to use. In fact, quite a high amount of player knowledge to use effectively, because she's not a ship that can simply sail onto a capture point and start melting things left, right, and center, because, of course, in such a high-tier environment where, you know, player skill is also generally, I say generally very loosely, quite high, you do have to consider, you know, situational awareness and the kind of ships that you're going to be going against. And of course, with the current radar meta that is running around, you are going to be running into a lot of radar ships. In this game alone, I ran into 4 radars, but of course, something that we'll bring up a little bit later on. By tier 10, you should have both these things down pat. You should have, you know, a decently skilled up commander, as well as a decent amount of player knowledge. It is required on this ship, and I mean absolutely down pat required, to run IFHE to make the 114mm guns effective against most targets, especially when you're trying to hit heavily armored targets like a battleship. If you plan on dealing any sort of penetration damage, you need the IFHE when you're splashing superstructure, and I say even the superstructure, to score any kind of alpha damage. With the right build, however, though, you can still get the perfect world when it comes to both to penetration damage and to fire damage, and that's something to really consider here with this ship. You sort of need the right build to get the best of both worlds here. So with that in mind here, you do kind of need to play very situationally aware. She's not the most heavily damaging ship in the market, but of course she does have her reload to counteract her low alpha damage. That's right, she has a 2.5 second reload. And this, in combination with the IFHE build, makes her an absolute beast at dealing with destroyers in record time. Her stupidly low concealment and hydroacoustic search will also allow for you to catch enemy destroyers off guard while they're hiding in their smoke, counter enemy torpedoes, as well as sneak up on DDs in general. The amount of destroyers that I'm able to sneak up on in this ship is absolutely ridiculous. She is literally, in my humble opinion, built to wrestle control of capture points from enemy destroyers. However, again, as I was mentioning, with the radar meta in the game currently, you need to play it very, very smart and very, you know, consider situational awareness when you're making these pushes. For example, as I mentioned before, in this game, 4 radars I've got to deal with. 2 Moskvas, a Baltimore, and a Seattle, and a Buffalo. Now, obviously, the Buffalo's on the other side of the map. There's a Moskva on the other side of the map. I've chosen to come all the way from sort of the A side of the map to the D side of the map just to ensure that I had some island cover. At the end of the day, I didn't want to get you know, cocky pushing that A point with no cover whatsoever and thus get radared and sent straight to Davy Jones' locker. Not exactly on the agenda. So, by moving over to the D side here and taking a slightly more passive approach for the start of the game, we've got a bit more cover and we can start thinking about who we want to start shelling without becoming too exposed here. Now, I know there's a Moskva sitting behind those islands, not much I can do about him, not much that my team can do about him as of yet either. So as a result of that, kind of going to still play a little bit more defensively here, not make a push onto the capture point, because there's also another radar ship hanging around here somewhere that I need to keep an eye on. Like, there's still a Seattle hanging around. Excuse me, guys. And I don't want to, you know, be caught out in the open off guard. So, this island in front of me here is sort of becoming my friend. And by breaking line of sight on as many ships as I can, if I do get radared, it's not going to be the end of the world. In fact, no, I take that back. It wasn't a Seattle, it was a Baltimore. So it was a Baltimore that was also in this game. Now, considering I've broken line of sight with the majority of ships in this game here, I decide to pop smoke and start engaging, but the Buffalo has got other ideas and decides to pop a cheeky little radar. In fact, it might be the Moskva's radar, depending on the duration of it. But regardless of this, I do have shells coming in from that Buffalo, and it's time for some evasive action. Thankfully, old mate here can't aim to save his life, and we managed to get away with some simple engine damage and a very light amount of HP damage. And he decides to break engagement on us anyway, and we're able to ditch the radar overall. Now, I wasn't sure if that was the Moskva or the Baltimore. It was a very short radar, but regardless, it was still... yeah, I'm not complaining. Short radar equals best radar in my humble opinion. And again, the whole radar conversation I've had prior, you guys know what my thoughts on radar are when they're used in this sort of situations. Anyway, Baltimore, look, I don't know what he's doing. He's making a very hasty push up this side of the map. And as a cruiser that's all by himself, the Conqueror is following him. Don't get me wrong, but still, I don't know what he's thinking. I really don't know what the guy is thinking. But anyway, I'm going to let him do him. Taking advantage, I should say, of the single-fire torps. Now, that is another key factor here, or key contributor of these Royal Navy destroyers that make them incredibly unique. They're single-fire torps. It allows for some incredibly accurate torp spreads that allow for them to absolutely decimate targets quite accurately. However, the issue I find with the torpedoes on these ships currently is that you've either got single-fire torps or you've got widespread torps, and those widespread torps just simply do not allow for you to get a decent torp volley off in a quick... like, if you need to get a torp volley off really quickly that's designed to hit a single target, all power to you, because it's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen in this ship. With the wide torp launchers, you can get all your torpedoes off quickly, but you're going to be lucky to hit the broadside of a barn. So, with that in mind, I don't think... I think that, you know, they should really... the guys at Wargaming should really switch out the widespread torps for narrow spread torps as the second firing mode of these torpedoes. But who am I to know? Now, Baltimore over here is within radar range. I'm getting a little bit concerned here. I'm going to try and get as close as I can to this island to try and break that radar. But the fact that he hasn't popped his radar... the fact that he hasn't popped radar again here suggests to me that he was the one that popped radar earlier. So as a result, I'm feeling pretty safe here, all things considered. I've got 13 seconds left on my smoke, and this Conqueror is making the tier 4 mistake of sailing in a straight line, and I've got single-fire torps. It's not going to be a good day for him here. Fire them all off in quick succession here, praying to God that he doesn't decide to change speeds at all, and I figured, you know what, this Baltimore needs to get dealt with. Decide to pop my smoke generator and start shelling the shit out of this Baltimore here. Now, of course, IFHE even not doing a thing here against that belt armor, so we're going to have to aim a little bit higher, start hitting the superstructure. We get a fire on board, 2 fires on board for that matter. He's burning up. He's obviously already popped his damage control party here, and he's going to be put to short work. Something else pops his radar. I'm not sure if it's the Baltimore or the Moskva at this point, but because we've got him pretty much dead to rights here, we managed to get the kill, and in the process, old mate Conqueror here decides to keep sailing straight forward, and we end up with a nice little double kill there. I'm really annoyed I didn't get a double strike for that, because, you know, that was such a quick succession of kills there that I thought I may have been entitled to it, but hey, you know, I'll take what I can get. Now, of course, considering the radar stuck around after old mate Baltimore died, it was confirmed that it was the Moskva raiding us, hence why the Baltimore was not ready to engage us as soon as he popped it, so we came out okay out of that. Now, obviously I've been raving about how this ship is an absolute DD killer thanks to her concealment, and mind you, her concealment is 5.7 kilometers, it's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, she's also great at just shelling the superstructures of the ships, and you're also going to see what happens when you spec her correctly, because while I'm not scoring, as I said before, that awesome alpha damage, you're about to see some awesome fire damage start hitting the deck of this Montana and this Mossfire, which just sends my damage count through the roof. You know, aim for that superstructure, aiming nice and high on the ship. I'm still able to score a couple of penetrations here and there, but there, already 2 fires on the Montana, and still scoring those penetrating hits. It's not high damage, but it's something to get us started. It's something to support the fire damage. That's what you're supposed to be doing here with these shells on this ship. At the end of the day, you're not going to be scoring great alpha damage per volley, but because you're firing so many volleys, you're firing a volley every 2.5 seconds, it's possible to get, you know, at max range, at this range in particular, about 4 volleys in the air at the same time. I'm able to score this consistent fire damage. I'm able to score, you know, low damage per volley, but because I'm hitting so many volleys at the same time, I'm able to add up that damage reliably as a result of it. Now, I know that the Montana put out his fires earlier, so I'm going to move on to the Mossfire, try and set some more fires on him in the process. There's no point in setting more fires on that Montana. He's already got 2 fires going. I figured, you know what, he's burning enough. Let's, you know, let the guy have a bit of a break here. And, you know, just using the traces of my shells previous, I'm able to keep shelling the hell out of this Mossfire. There, 1 fire on board already. And, again, he already used up his damage control party, so he's already feeling the pain. And I believe, if we're lucky, we might actually end up setting another fire. Yeah, there we go, 2 fires on the Mossfire. So, already, we've gone from about 90,000 damage to 138,000 damage, so don't let the low gun caliber on this ship fool you guys. When you spec her right, she is still incredibly effective. The only thing that is really a huge risk to you is overextending yourself, and that's why I think this ship is a very high skill ship. You need to be someone who understands the way the game works. You need to be someone who understands how the battlefield flows and what ships you need to be prioritizing, how you need to be counteracting those ships. And when you understand that, you can actually be really powerful here. Now, obviously, the radar ship, the only radar ship in the region, has pissed off. He's not really keen on sort of sticking around any time longer. So I figured, you know what, it's time to really stick this ship to where she's truly powerful, and that is wresting control of capture points. And as a result, I find myself a Shimakaze who happens to be caught out, and we're about to put this thing to work. Already scoring 3 penetrating hits and 1 fire on him. He's already not having a really good day, and he knows for a fact that he's outgunned here. Well, maybe he doesn't. This is a new ship after all. But anyway, you get the idea. Shimakaze versus a gunboat like this, it's not going to end well. But this is where the ship truly gets to show off her guns and show off, you know, where she's at her strongest. That's a gearing, and gearings have always been the pinnacle of rapid-fire gunboats in this game. You know, they've got autoloader 127mm guns. They're designed to be absolutely monumental gunboats. And here I am, putting this guy and, you know, giving him a workload that's cut out for him. I mean, even when I'm trying to dodge these torpedoes from the Shimakaze, and obviously this gearing is completely outnumbered, and we're spotting him out, he's not having a good time, but we've still got him in a really rough situation. And I've played games in this ship where I've been one-on-one with a gearing and have absolutely decimated them. It's just that slight increase in reload rate, in reload speed, and the fact that you really don't need anything higher than 140mm with that IFHE. That gives you the added damage output, or DPM, if you will, on a destroyer, or on a gearing for that matter, that makes this ship now the king of DD wrestling. And as you just saw there, guys, completely obliterated the gearing, sent us straight to Davy Jones' locker, and was able to secure the cap for my team on that D point. Again, guys, it's of my humble opinion that this ship is now the king of destroyer skirmishing. And again, I mean, versing a Shimakaze, she's not exactly going to be completely outgunned here. The Shimakaze stands no chance whatsoever. The only chance she stood was with her torpedoes, but at the end of the day, the torpedoes were kind of counteracted by my hydroacoustic, as we saw earlier. So, I think the Daring may very well become the next destroyer hunter, and she has In fact, she is, in fact. There's no think about it. She is the next destroyer hunter. And as a result, guys, after some well thought out plays and after making sure that we, you know, aggressively moved up at the right time, we were able to secure this side of the map for our team. You know, by not pushing too early, by suppressing the right targets, by scoring a solid amount of hits on the correct targets at the right time, we were able to really lock down this side of the map. And we've even got people in the chat asking us, is this new DD overpowered? And it's like, not really. It's just a matter of knowing when to use it and when to use it right. I'm not entirely sure if I'm a huge fan of this ship being so reliant on IFHE. In my humble opinion, there should be no ship in this game that is reliant on a captain's skill to become overly effective. But unfortunately, that's just how the game has been balanced, and thus you've got to work with what you're handed to you. But when you do mount IFHE on this ship, I think she's actually an incredibly competitive ship. Right now I'm just shooting at a Moskva because why the fuck not? There's no point really in playing stealthily anymore. There's only a Moskva and 2 battleships to worry about, and I highly doubt the battleships on the other side of the map are going to be entirely keen on me on this point. But we've pretty much won this game. 3 capture points, we've got a 200-point lead on the enemies. It is well and truly game over now. And we ended up with 3 kills, 8 torpedo hits, 15 fires, guys. Again, just to truly emphasize that not all this damage came from penetrations. A lot of it came from fires. 15 fires on board enemy ships, but we still did a decent amount of alpha damage thanks to that reload speed. So she's an incredibly spammy ship, but I love her. She's incredibly good fun for that very, very reason. So a lot to look forward to, you guys. I'm going to be doing reviews on all of the other British destroyers, or the Royal Navy destroyer line, as I get around to it. I just wanted to have a look at the tier 10 first, though, because the tier 10s, I think, give you an idea as to what to expect from this line as a whole. They sort of give you an idea as to what the line amounts to, and therefore you can kind of sort of move down the line in a reverse order and see how the ships evolve to become the final form. And that sort of helps you to decide how the playstyle should be played, in my humble opinion. I've been playing the tier 2 a lot, sort of, you know, working in reverse order as well, working up the line just to sort of, you know, get an idea as to how it works on both the entry level and the max level for this line, and she very much plays the same. Aggressive, sort of, capture point wrestler from enemy DDs. So, I'm incredibly excited to see how this line goes. Personally, I'm not too fond on how, again, as I said before, how reliant she is on IFHE, but you do have to play very carefully with the amount of radar in the game. But that brings us to the close of the game, guys. Ending up on 3 kills, a solid amount of hits, 15 fires. Just, again, guys, brutal game in this sort of ship here. Had a lot of fun in this game, and had a lot of fun with this ship. Yeah, obviously, Team Eagle. Go Team Eagle. But yeah, ending up on 718,000 experience points. 718,000 credits, 9,000 experience points, and 6,000 free XP. Solid game, guys. So that gives you an idea as to what to expect from the Daring. Of course, she is, of course, a work-in-progress ship, so do keep that in mind, guys, when watching this video. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, a backhanding of that like button would be greatly appreciated. Let me know what you think of the ship in the comment section down below. Do you think she looks overpowered? Do you think you're going to be getting yourself straight into the teeth of this ship? Do you think she's balanced? You know, let me know, guys, in the comment section down below based on what you've been able to see here. I'll be sure to get to as many of your questions in the comment section down below based on the experience that I've had with the ship. And guys, of course, if you find yourself backhanding that like button and you are new to the channel, then backhand that subscribe button whilst you're at it to keep up to date with all things that I'm doing here on my channel. And also follow me on Twitch, guys. A lot of the gameplay that I do capture for my YouTube videos is also first captured on Twitch. So that'll be the first place to sort of, you know, pop by, chat, hang out, and check out some gameplay, guys. So I'd really appreciate all the support. Once again, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I'll be catching you all next time. Take care.